Welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host, Haley Simon. I have a new computer, St. Louis. Oh man, this is glorious. I promise my episodes going forward will be at a normal time. I had to drive about 2 hours away to pick up this computer because it was a deal. And basically, I just got home not too long ago. So I do apologize. But folks, we are all set. Today, we're going to talk about what we talked about on yesterday's episode in a little bit more detail about a potential summer hockey league. And then we're going to talk about some NHL news and a huge congratulations to our very own favorite goalie on the St. Louis Blues, Jordan Binghamton. This is all coming up here on Locked on Blues.
You're Locked on Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Blues your first listen every single day. I'm excited to be a part of the Locked On Network, and you can listen to the Locked On podcast wherever you get your streaming services, whether that be Spotify, Apple Music, Sirius, and of course to my lovely folks on YouTube. Hello, it is so nice to see you. So on yesterday, before we go, I'm Haley, by the way. I got a little too excited. And I've been covering the NHL for about 5 seasons now. It all began in 2019 when the St. Louis Blues went to the Stanley Cup and defeated those Boston Bruins. I am a huge hockey nerd, and I'm obsessed with the game of hockey. I'm obsessed with talking about the game of hockey. And I do enjoy talking to you, especially when it comes to the St. Louis Blues. You and I, we've been on this together now. We're going about 1 month of me doing this podcast. And you welcome me, and I can't tell you how much that means to me. I don't know if there's words to describe how exciting it is every single day to wake up and talk some Blues hockey with you all. And I just appreciate it. So thank you. It's been a little bit over a month, but today is 7-Eleven, and we went Blues Day will be 1 month from tomorrow. So yeah, it's been about over a month. Oh my gosh, guys, we made it to the 1 month milestone. We're kind of in a steady relationship now. But anyways, getting back to today's episode, I proposed a question, and it was a very interesting question. And I posted this on the Twitter at Locked On Blues, and I said, question of the day, would you watch an NHL Summer League game if they had one? 76% of you said yes, while 24% of you said no. And a couple people commented saying if it's prospects only, sure. This is my kind of takeaway from yesterday's episode because I hate July. I love the summer, do not get me wrong, but because the Cardinals are now playing well, it's kind of like, oh, can we just speed it up a little bit back to hockey season? I proposed on yesterday's episode about a cool way for them to introduce the prospects to each other by having a mini tournament. Kind of like how the NBA does with their summer league. Now, it wouldn't be exactly the same, but it would be cool just to have, even if it was like a combined scrimmage, just something where we're seeing prospects of another organization play against our prospects. I want to see Dvorsky take on a Bedard. No, I'm just playing, but I do think it would be cool to see that. Going back, though, I don't know if I'm that far off from this potentially happening. We've seen the NBA do it, so who's to say that hockey wouldn't follow? This is a good way, and I hate to be a business-minded person right now, but I'm going to be for a second. This would be such a good way for the league to make some extra money. We all know the NHL about making money. This would mean ticket sales. This would mean, different promos. Like, I'm just brainstorming. Like, we all like Chick-fil-A. It could be for every goal that is scored by a blah, blah, blah player, your team will win a free fry from Chick-fil-A. Like, you get what I'm saying? Just something like that where I truly feel like this could benefit the league financially. It would at least entertain us as a fan base, you as a consumer. And the interesting thing is, people tend not to be as invested into prospect development camp. It's not something where you're going to say, okay, time to watch some prospect development camp, because it's one of those things. While they do have the scrimmage, there's so many more aspects that go into it. So imagine having a product where you have an actual game and, Otto Stenberg, boom, 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 boom. And you get to see the players that you just recently drafted, the guys that you're still developing, as in a Zach Dean, even. But the point is, I think this would be beneficial. So if anybody from the NHL is watching here on Locked On Blues, give me credit first off. I want all of the credit, all of the commission, all the shmoney. But secondly, is it such a bad idea to do something in July when there's truly nothing else going on besides baseball to entertain your crowd? Because hockey fans are the most dedicated fans, and I will forever, ever, ever die on that hill. When it comes to hockey, and I explained this a little bit a couple episodes ago, here in St. Louis, we have the fan base. We have the St. Louis Blues. Expanded a little bit. Okay, now there are some teams around us, hence the National Hockey League. So you take 32 teams and you have to be a little bit specific. So St. Louis Blues, LA Kings, Vancouver Canucks. And then you combine that by saying, okay, well, this summer series, we're going to have the St. Louis Blues and the Calgary Flames play each other with their prospects. Now, I think that is a strategic idea. I don't know why I chose Calgary. Was this the first team I thought of? It would be a strategic idea in a sense for the NHL to maybe intertwine different fan bases that usually don't interact. We tend to see a lot of the same teams interact with each other. And it's one of those things, not that it's boring, but it's also not entertaining. And as a consumer, besides being a reporter here with the St. Louis Blues of Locked On Blues, I want to be entertained. So, yeah, I would find it a little interesting if the Blues were all of a sudden scrimmaging against the Islanders, a team that we usually don't play against. I think that that would draw some interest because it would expand people's hockey knowledge. It would expand the game. You just don't know who you're going to get. Another idea that I had was what? Okay, I call me crazy because maybe I'm a little crazy. What if during the summer we had the players go back to like their hometowns or whatever like that? And like, I just follow me for a second. We're brainstorming here today on Locked On Blues. And we see a life. I don't know why I'm thinking of Russia, but a prospect playing against his hometown team with a couple of guys from the Blues. I don't know if that would work actually, now that I'm thinking. I don't know why. Like, but you get what I'm saying? At least I'm putting some ideas together. At least I am trying to get hockey more, noticed, I guess, in a sense. Because here in America, I know in other countries, hockey is the main sport. It is not the main sport here in the States. And it sucks. It's such football dominance. And nothing against football. Football's awesome and all. But hockey, you never hear hockey being the number one sport. And I think doing more, and it sucks that this even has to be a thing. These athletes are so talented, and it sucks that you have to then push them on top of their talent to do more in a sense. But I really think it would help the game. And I'm all about improving the game of hockey. I'm all about improving the NHL because I don't want it to die down. And that is my concern because in July, it's really sucky. There's not much to hold on to except you have to brainstorm ideas and be creative. And luckily, with the St. Louis Blues, there have been, different trades and moves and rumors. So there's been some entertaining aspects. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, okay, Now what? We're July 11th, 7th 11 day. I didn't get my Slurpee today. But I don't know. It's an interesting thought. And I really would enjoy maybe if the players were the coaches and like the current players were the coaches and the prospects were playing. That would be cool. I have so many ideas. So I want you, my everydayers, to let me know in the comments what you think about this. Would you like to see this? Do you think I'm just being a little too crazy and these guys need a break? Or do you miss your hockey? Because I miss hockey. I miss St. Louis hockey. And if Enterprise Center could get rocking during the summer, I wouldn't be opposed. I would not be opposed whatsoever. But there's something else I'm not opposed to. eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know if the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit only, available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. You know what's not excluded? That was a good segue. What's not excluded is all 32 NHL teams playing at the same time. What? Okay. So NHL PR put this out today, and I thought it was really cool. There's only one thing better than hockey: more hockey. With all 32 teams hitting the ice October 24th and January 13th will mark the second and third 16 game days in NHL history. So let's go talk about this history. The only game that was a 16 game day in the league was April 8th of 2023. So it is very cool. It's funny. Like I thought to myself, I'm like, Hale, why is this exciting? And it's exciting for multiple reasons. This is something that us hockey nerds, we geek out about. We're like, oh, hockey all night long. Like every single team is going to be playing. It's chaotic. It's exciting. I am so for it. And this is the kind of thing that gets me excited for the season. Seeing stats like that, this is historic. Never in the history of the NHL has there been two games in the same season that will have every single team playing. That is so insane. It's like being a part of history in a sense. And, this league has been around for quite a while. And whenever there's something new that's historic that comes about, I embrace it because one day someone's going to look back and be like, the first multi 6 game day. And you were there for it. I think it's the coolest thing in the planet. So I want to ask you, are you somebody that's going to watch majority of these games, or you're just going to watch the Blues? I can tell you this. I sometimes get a little nervous when they do things like this too at the same time. As excited as I am, it's kind of like, okay, well, there's going to be games that are not entertaining. And I don't know. But if it worked last year, there's a reason why they brought it back. I just think it's kind of a cool thing and a little, side topic kind of conversation starter. Is this like heaven for you? Because for me, it is. I'm a hockey nerd. So I know what I'll be doing on those days, not moving. I just, oh man, it can't be hockey season sooner enough. Seriously, it cannot be hockey season. Okay. I think the St. Louis Blues admins listen to this podcast, Locked on Blues, because I talked about the grid game yesterday. And I said, wouldn't it be really cool if there was just a St. Louis based one? So 5 hours ago, this was tweeted. Everybody on YouTube can see the Blues made themselves a grid game. All right, let's go see who we have. Now, it's funny because I truly was not expecting them to do this, but they did it. So let's go see. So, Hall of Famer, and they have to be a captain as well. Okay, so the way that the grid game works is, as I showed you, it's hold on, I'm going to show you the picture again. Put the setting. So for those on YouTube, you can see. For those that are listening, I'm going to explain to you. On one of the columns on the grid, it's going to say Hall of Famer, but that player also needs to be a captain for one of them. The Hall of Famer can either be a cup champion, or the Hall of Famer could have played 100+ games. The Hall of Famer does not need to be a Hall of Famer for the St. Louis Blues, but they've had to play on the St. Louis Blues at one point. Then there is the first round pick. Again, first round pick. We need a first round pick that was a cup champion. Again, it doesn't have to be the Blues' first round pick. Played 100+ games and then was a captain. And then the NHL award winner either needs to be a cup champion, played 100+ games, and a captain. So just so you know, because I'm not trying to confuse anybody, they do not need to be a Blue their whole career. That's not how it works. I hope I explained it properly. On YouTube, you have that visual 100%. But if you go to the St. Louis Blues Twitter account, you will see. So, okay, Hall of Famer, who also was a captain, is the one, the only Brett Hull. That's the first thing that came to my mind. And then, see, these things are so difficult to follow along with because I'm always like, because multiple guys could fit in the column. So, Hall of Famer also played 100+ games. Again, the pronunciation isn't always the best. Federico, sick. And then Did Pronger play 100+ games? No. That was for no, he did. Wayne Gretzky, Hall of Famer, 100 games, or he could be the Cup champion. No, Cup champion Wayne Gretzky. I just confused myself. This is such a difficult game sometimes. So as you can tell, I just kind of did like the first column, but I'm not going to bore you with all that. But as you can tell, it's one of those things where you kind of guess. You're like, who played on what? Who played on what? I forgot Wayne Gretzky, of course, the GOAT. He could really have fit in any of the columns. But I guess the 100+ would have to be for the Blues. And they kind of made it kind of confusing. Okay, so before I talk about the news, I just want to say, make sure you guys follow Locked On Blues on our Twitter, which is at Locked On Blues. You can also find me on Twitter at Haley T. Simon. And again, I'm a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where you get your team every day. So your team every day, part of Locked On. This is such a great organization, a great company. I am so honored to be here and to be talking to you. And I cannot give them enough praise. The fact that they designed a company where I'm able to talk about the one team I want to talk about and nothing else, that's a pretty cool thing. So I love that. Oh, co-host. Do you guys see co-host? If you're on YouTube, you can see co-host is sleeping. Co-host is my cat, Stella. I've been gone for 15 hours today. Okay. So the final news is a huge congratulations to Jordan Binghamton. Jordan Binghamton had quite a week. He got married. And then he had his birthday. I believe it was today or yesterday, but what a fabulous week for Binnington. This is a player who is so respected throughout all of St. Louis, a player that is respected throughout the NHL. And, you know, you sometimes try not to look at the players off the ice because you just want to focus on the game. But with the week that he had, I thought it would be foolish for me not to congratulate him and getting that ring. Get it? Because he got a wedding ring and he already has a championship. Get it? Because, like, you know? Um, okay. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I am super excited for him and his beautiful wife. And I think all of St. Louis feels the same way. It is so nice seeing these players off the ice sometimes, extremely happy. It makes me feel happy because sometimes, as I said, you look at the players as just the athlete, but you don't look at the player as in the person. You don't see him as in Jordan Binghamton. You just see him maybe as just a goalie. But this weekend, you got to see him as a husband. You got to see him as a birthday boy. It's one of those things where I think that this does impact the players in a positive way, where they have such a great week and a great milestone event. And this could spark a whole new energy for him out on the ice. Yeah. He's going to be like, I need to make some saves for the wife. I don't know, but I just wanted to formally congratulate him here in Locked On Blues because besides giving you the on ice information, I also will give you the off ice information because sometimes that can be just as important. But this brings me to my final thought of today. How does the summer impact the players? And it's something I've thought about quite a bit, actually, not just today, but it's something I've been thinking about. These players like Alex, his story does make me a little emotional because of his daughter, and it's a whole thing. But Petrangelo obviously came back to St. Louis because that's where, his family is being raised, and with the cup. And his daughter has just some difficulties at medical stuff. And it makes you think, off the ice, these players, they're people, they have their own challenges, everyday battles, and what they do off the ice, I truly believe, and as professional as they are, it can impact them on the ice. And that's not a negative, it's just life. So I got a little choked up seeing Petrangelo back in St. Louis with the cup with his beautiful family because while yes, he won that cup with the Vegas Golden Knights, he made such an impact on the Blues and brought the Blues their first cup, our first cup in franchise history. And you grow to really like these players. So it's one of those things where I'm not trying to be a downer in any way towards the end of this episode, but it is one of those things that I do think about that, these players have a life outside of hockey. And as a reporter, I'm like, I hope I'm not being too hard on them, but I'm never going to be hard on them off the ice. You get what I'm saying? And I'm going to celebrate their wins off the ice as well. Because being a reporter, besides it just being reporting what's going on the ice, it's also humanizing these players, these athletes, and even athletes that are no longer with the St. Louis Blues that once were Blues, because once a Blue, always a Blue, I will also acknowledge as well. And I thought it was beautiful that he was in St. Louis with the cup. And hopefully that will manifest itself into bringing another cup to St. Louis. Obviously not by Petrangelo, but by this current Blues team or a future Blues team or a future Blues team. Just hopefully one day. With all that being said, again, a huge congratulations to Binner. I'm speaking for we as in me and my cat, but I am really excited for you and happy for you. So a major congratulations. exciting NHL news. And again, let me know your thoughts on the Summer Hockey League idea that I have. That'll be it for today's episode. Tomorrow's episode, we're going to be focusing on one specific player that has the potential to be a captain this upcoming season. We're going to find out then. For now, I'm Haley Simon, and like always, on these episodes, let's go Blues.